All right, stop playing around. I know it's been a while, but we gotta get on this. Okay. Yeah. What are we doing today, Kevin?
I guess today we're going to kind of break it down. We're going to simplify a little bit. Obviously, I tend to sometimes overwhelm people with adding or showing mutations and combos that have too many elements. So basic ingredients. So Raphy asked me if I could come up with some snakes that are 2 or 3 genes. So a lot of bang for a little less genetic bucks, but we'll kind of break it down, show there's some really amazing stuff that can be accomplished in 2 and 3 genes. So we're going to definitely focus on that today.
All right, let's do that.
We're going to start this out with a couple of my... I don't get a lot of new genes at Nerd because I have so many cool genes already. And these are both GHI combos. So this little blacker guy right here is a GHI Mojave, so that's 2 genes. This is a lesser platinum GHI, once again 2 genes. And that's very interesting what just happened. But anyways, drop of water. So basically, just a simple combo like a Bumblebee, but in the GHI thing. And the GHI thing is really cool. What it does with all the melanin, it dirties things up and soots it up and gets this real nice black velvety look. So I'm really excited what I'm going to be able to do with the GHI complex. Okay, here's 2 snakes that are so different from each other genetically as well as looks. All right, so this guy right here on my left. This is a lesser platinum, a clown, and a yellow belly. So that's 3 genes, and we're starting off with the simple recessive clown. So it's a little bit harder to hit this guy, but it makes for a awesome looking snake. I love the belly, I love the yellow. Obviously I'm going to want to really mix this up. I'd love to get the spider gene into this and the pastel gene into this. When I first hatched them, I was kind of thinking the pastel gene was in it, but after I got used to them and stuff like that, I guess we whiffed on the pastel gene. I get snakes crawling away. Okay, this one right here, this other guy, we're going to call, this is my first video, we're going to call this what I'm now calling it. I call anything like a super stripe. This is a super stripe pastel. So this is the basic combo of the yellow belly times specter. So they occur at the same locus. And when they meet up, they make something called acts like super. It's a little term that I came up with to describe what the genetics are. And that means if I take a super stripe, yellow belly times specter, and I breed that to a normal, all resulting babies are either yellow belly or specter. It's you get the ingredients of the combo, but the combo can never replicate itself. Like a soul sucker or bumblebee, both those things are not act like supers. They're just a combination, so you can have a bumblebee repeating bumblebee as well as a soul sucker repeating soul sucker. Here we throw the pastel on top of it, so this is essentially a 3 gene animal. It's an act like super plus pastel, so specter, yellow belly, pastel. Let me get in position if I can.
He's a grumpy dude. Leave him alone. All right, so this is
just basically doubled up. This is a super. So, like a pastel, we have a super pastel. This is what happens when you double up the coral glow. At this point, we don't have any of the melanin dotting. It's really, really interesting looking. Yeah, he is so defiant. Ow! It's so pathetic.
He's cool.
We'll give you a little bit of contrast. Here's a triple gene. That's an Enchi, a pastel, and a Lucifer. And everybody knows about me and the Lucifer thing. I love the Lucifer gene. It does so many cool things. But it really helps clean things up. And I love Enchi and I love Pastel. So the 3 genes together makes a real winner. And if you take this 3 gene and you combine it with something like yellow belly, it's just even that much more dramatic. And he continues to try to bite me. Okay. All right, so these 2 snakes, we're only dealing with essentially 2 genes. So this one right here, we were just looking at a Lucifer triple gene. This one is a lemon pastel Lucifer minus the enchi. So we knew what the other snake looked like. Had a different head, but it's very, very pretty. More on the orange side. But when you remove the enchi, we don't really have that orange addition. So we get this real stark, at least in my opinion, this is very stark. The black is real, real clean. You don't have a lot of speckling, melanin noise. And so a pastel Lucifer is just potentially so awesome. I love that. That to me is like epitome of, you know, what you want to see like a black and yellow snake to look like. It's just you don't have a lot of bleeding through. Okay, over here, this is a really cool snake. This is the very, very subtle Harlequin gene when it mates up with Mojave. What's really cool about the Harlequin gene, obviously I'm learning a lot, but anything in the whole Mojave lesser complex, it seems to start doing this reacting. And I think what we're starting to find out with the Harlequin gene, it cleans things up. It also makes things go stripy and stuff like that. All right, these next 2, these guys are focusing on the Harlequin gene. So here I have a pin lesser Harlequin, and it gives you a really nice stripe, but it also clears up the sides a lot. And so, you know, Kingpin's pretty, but this kind of, in my opinion, pretties it up a bit more, and you almost get like this greenish look to it, and you also start fading out the stripe. Now this guy is really interesting because this is just a pinstripe Harlequin. So that really has taken the pinstripe gene and really done some things. In fact, you might even think, to some of us might go, oh, that's prettier or more remarkable than this. This is a 3 gene, this is only a 2 gene, but it really shows how powerful the Harlequin thing can be. So there's all these different subtleties and all these different genes. As they stand, they're not always so remarkable, but when we start comboing it, we can get these ridiculous combinations. And sometimes adding more genes doesn't necessarily make it better. Okay, on these 2 guys, once again, we have something very, very different. Right here, this guy, that's a Bumblebee Clown. So we have the simple recessive clown and a pastel and a spider. And obviously that's very, very remarkable. I mean, it's one of the most fantastic 3 gene combos we can make. And I mean, that's just killer. God, I love that. Okay, here we have black pastel, lesser, and enchi. And I really like this. So this is a 3 gene or 2, but you get all this weird, like muting or dissolving, where almost you see like a peach. And that is really cool. We're really, you know, starting to take this side pattern. You start obliterating the side. It almost has like a charcoal gray side, if you can see that. I really, really like that a lot. So I think that's gonna make some great stuff. I also like this little bit of melanin around that dorsal stripe. I'm probably pointing out a lot of the obvious to you guys. You know, obviously you key on what you like. I'm just pointing out some things that are notable to me on these animals and ways to improve them. I really like that fuzzing. And if I look at this, I think my objective would be, let's get rid of some of this melanin, because I really like that clean yellow. As we start going towards the dorsal area, we start picking up some of the melanin, some of the noise. So the stippling, now I'm going to figure out, if I add maybe 1 or 2 other genes, I can get rid of a lot of that. And even in a case like, let's say, Ralph's flatline, he was able to clean that animal up so well, get this little minimalized pattern down its back, and we got this remarkable, very contrasty animal. So whenever we're looking at our combos, we want to think how we can improve it. So just adding the right, elements from your genetic palette is the way to go. All right, here's an interesting one. This one is essentially like the whole candy toffee complex. This is the classic amelanistic albino combined with a toffee, and we make toffino. So it's essentially the same thing as a candino. So they both occur at the same locus, and when you take a visual candy and a visual albino, you make this visual like combo of the two. This is basically acts like super, but in a simple recessive fashion. So if I took this snake and I bred this to normals, I would produce het candies, het albinos. I cannot tell the difference on those hets because they look normal, but they're both, you know, hets for two different sides. So remember, when you're breeding these animals together, each parent gives half of the equation. Whether or not the genes pass along depends on, you know, the genetics behind it. If both parents are visual simple recessive, both parents will give half. So this right here is a culmination of the two. What's interesting about this are how the genes work. So if I took this and bred this to a het albino, I can produce more candy albinos, and I can also produce more albinos. Depending whatever the parents are. So hopefully I was clear on that. So if I took an albino and bred it to this, I will produce albinos, and then I'll make more of this candy and albino gene. If I bred this to a candy, I would then make more of the candies and then also more of the candy or candinos together. So that's how it works. I've seen some different explanations for it, but it's literally acts like super. So bred to a normal, it makes het candies, het albinos, or het toffies, het albinos. That's how it works. All right, we got three snakes right here. Starting on my right, we have pinstripe desert ghost. So that's simple recessive desert ghost times dominant pinstripe. Here we add pastel to that equation. So basically, that's a simple recessive desert ghost, pastel jungle, and a pinstripe. This snake is going to change. Both these snakes are going to change drastically. But I know exactly what the snake looks like when it's bigger. So we're going to come back to that in this video. All right, so right here we have a soul sucker. So essentially this is really three genes. This is granite, hidden gene, woma, lesser platinum. And that makes for a very, very dramatic three gene animal. It's probably one of my favorite, you know, few gene animals you can make because you can do so many cool things with it. All right, so remember that little lemon blast desert ghost? That little animal goes through a big change and turns into this. But we wanted to get that out there.
It's remarkable how much they change as they grow, huh?
Yeah, the desert ghost is something that, you know, they look like something when they're babies, but what they change to is ridiculous. You might as well bite me too. Everybody else is doing it. Snake's like never bit in his life. He's like, I'm going to do it on film. His debut.
All right, what do we got over here?
Okay, what we have here is essentially is Soul Sucker Cine combo. This is hands down just so dramatic. I love that. Here we have Enchi, Harlequin, Lesser. Actually, I have to sit here and think about this. Yeah. It's funny. When I don't go and look at my snakes a lot and then people just hand me snakes and stuff like that, I'm like, wait a minute, let me get this right. Yeah, this is... So this, when we start adding another gene, this one goes crazy. And then we got this guy over here, which is so cool looking. I really like this a lot. This is essentially hidden gene woma, spot nose, yellow belly, and we throw a little granite in there because it seems like everywhere I put my hidden gene woma. So we gotta find the flames. This snake has just got silly flames. Can you see those?
Yeah.
So if we do something and get the right gene in here, I can really make use of these flames. And you know, spot nose, people just kind of like look past it, and I see so much potential for spot nose if we just, you know, put the right things to it. All right, here's a cool one. This is a 3 gene. So we use the Yellow Belly, Fader, and Lucifer. You get this classic Fader mark, and we have a big loud... Wow. What the heck? All right, she's almost done. Get. That's a monitor going out of its water tub. Okay, so back to this. We have a Fader, a Lucifer, and a Bling Yellow Belly. And you get this classic Fader mark over the back. And I love the overall color of the snake. They got a great looking head. And what's more dramatic is when I start turning it over. And one thing, if you can see, no! Can you see? Wow. Can you see its face at all, Raphy? Get that nice
get on there. Yep.
nose. Okay, so if we take the snake, we start turning it over, you get this white center belly. And you got like the side with the orange edge. I think that makes a really cool looking snake. Lots of potential. All right, these are the last three we're going to do. So right here we have a clown, het red axanthic, and I really think this makes a pretty cool looking snake. You sort of, no, I won't show you how cool looking I am. I mean, clowns by themselves are really nice, but this is lots of potential. I like how we get this nice light brown going through the back, so I think we can do some cool stuff with it. We've already done cool stuff with it, but just keep going with it. Alright, so right here we have Corglo Enchi. So that's a 2-gener. And the Enchi, it obviously changes the pattern, so we get this real clean banding. We don't have any more of the melanin for the most part. We have an occasional black dot.
6.
But, what?
6 black dots.
So, oh, excuse me. Okay.
They usually have about 6 of them.
Okay, so this snake is makes for a very, very pretty snake. Some of them are really orange. This one's not as orange. But as we all know, Enchi's vary a great deal. So you'll see that reflected in the Corglo combos. This last guy is a Bumblebee Lucifer. So very, very clean. It just kind of amps up this Bumblebee. It takes away tons of the noise, and we get all that, which is just, I think it's just fantastic. Just like we saw with the lemon pastel, the Lucifer just brings it like out like the white, like a desert ghost would. It's like an amped up fire, but more on the white side, and that makes a really cool looking snake. All right, so these are your last three. Alright guys, we're at the end of this video, and making these videos is great, and hopefully you guys are, you're basically learning some stuff, and we're all, we keep these animals because we enjoy them. We admire their coloration, their patterns and stuff like that, but when it's all said and done, and if anybody's looking at like my online stuff or whatever, I have New England Reptile, but we also just started something called Grain. And essentially this is so real to me, and this has nothing to do with I want to keep all this stuff legal because I want to just keep selling animals and do all this stuff like that. It goes way beyond that. It goes from when I was a little kid, my initial interest in the snakes. I remember my experience of having 2 pet Burmese pythons and how utterly excited I was having these Burmese pythons, watching them grow. Same thing with the boa constrictor. And what's happening? We are losing our rights. We're losing our chances to keep these animals that I certainly enjoyed. One sad reality is if somebody was coming on the scene like I did back in the 90s, and they said, oh, I wanted to set up a whole reptile breeding thing and do all the different animals that that everybody else is working with at the time, you can't do it anymore. There are so many things ahead of us, and I know so many little things that are super, super scary. So if we can all get on the same page, at least let's try to get along and see what we can do. But please get involved in Grain. Grain's going to expand greatly. We're going to create an online web community. That's in the plans. The next NARBC show, we're going to meet on Grain. So everybody, for right now, spread the word. And remember, we're all in the same fight, and we all need to join into one voice so we can back things like US ARC. Thank you.